My name is Alec Dawsis, and I'm the plant manager of a new company starting up here. And what we do, we produce only cupcakes, and we're called Shoot Cupcakes. These are my workers here. This is Chase Godfrey, he's my baker. This is Mitch Hall, he's the decorator of the cupcakes. And so there are direct and indirect costs that go into this process that we're going to talk about. And also, we think that we're going to use a traditional costing system because we're a smaller company with limited funds, and we don't have too much experience with cost accounting. So we're going to go into some of that later in more detail, and let's get started with these cupcakes.
Alright, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the manufacturing process and how we get it started here. There's three main costs to the manufacturing process, which is labor, materials, and overhead. We have our direct costs here in order to produce our cupcakes. Direct costs are any expenses that can be traced back to the cost or cost object. So the various costs that we have here are, we have cupcake mix, water, olive oil, we got eggs, we got frosting, sprinkles, and baking cups, also equipment, and baker and decorator wage, which is mine and Mitch's wages, and that's direct materials. So those are our various direct costs. And
here are some of the prices associated with these costs.
And Mitch is going to explain to you now the indirect costs.
Okay, so I'm going to go over the indirect costs, which are costs related to a cost object that cannot be traced back in any economically feasible way. Our indirect costs are rent expense for the bakery, the utilities, which is gas and electricity for the oven and lights, our supervisor's salary for Alec, and our advertising expense, which is just getting the word out to other kids about our cupcakes.
Okay, so as you can see here with indirect costs, there's no prices written next to them because we still have to figure out how we're going to allocate them. And there's rent, gas, electricity, supervisor salary, and advertising expense. And so there would be a plant-wide overhead rate, and we would use one cost driver, direct labor hours most likely, to apply the overhead.
Alright, now I'm going to show you how we're going to get started with our actual manufacturing process. We got our equipment here, the bowl, spoon, and tray. And so we're going to first start out with our cake mix here, or cupcake mix, and pour it in the bowl. Whole bag. Then you're going to take 1 cup of water. Pour that in the bowl. And then 1/3 cup of olive oil. Like so. Pour that into the bowl. And then we're going to use 3 eggs. That's not correct. That's 1.
Nice work, Chase.
Thank you. That's 2. Last one here. Bada bang.
It's great egg cracking. Way to go, Chase.
Thank you. Let me wash my hands here.
It's good protocol.
Alright, now we got all the direct materials that we need to make the cupcakes in the bowl. Now we're just going to mix it up. A little stirring here. And once it's done stirred up and all set to go, we're just going to pour them in each one of these and then put it in the oven.
So the cupcakes are all set and ready to be decorated. So I'm going to apply the icing to the top of the cupcake, and then I'm going to add some sprinkles to it. And there's your finished product.
So as a plant manager, it's good that we have the final product, but now we need to determine some of the costs and use them to determine the price. So as we said earlier, we use direct materials, labor, and manufacturing overhead to determine the total manufacturing cost. Divide that by the number of units produced, and then once you have the price per cupcake that it costs you, use a markup price to determine your selling price. So then your selling price minus your cost will give you profit. So now that you've learned a little bit more about the manufacturing process, hopefully it can help you with decisions in your future.